Chosen one. While they spun webs of deceit, planting seeds of doubt in every corner they could reach, you did the unthinkable, not out of weakness, but out of unmatched wisdom. You chose silence. You didn't chase down every rumor. Didn't waste your breath justifying your existence to those too blind to see your light. Instead, you let the chaos pass over you like a storm that could never reach your core. And then, without warning, without theatrics, you returned, not with explanations, but with embodiment. Your truth didn't arrive with a shout, it radiated. Every step you took shattered the fragile lies they clung to. They looked at you and saw not a victim, not a casualty of gossip, but a force. Calm, unbothered, untouchable. The very air around you shifted, and those who once doubted could feel it in their bones. They had been misled. What they failed to understand was that your absence wasn't disappearance, it was divine recalibration. While they watched and waited for you to fall, you were being reforged. You weren't retreating, you were aligning. You weren't shrinking, you were rising. Behind closed doors, away from the noise, the real work was being done. The sacred kind, the kind that doesn't need validation. While they obsessed over appearances, you anchored into purpose. And when you emerged, quietly, gracefully, the power you carried was undeniable. You didn't need to announce yourself. You were the announcement. You didn't need to argue the lies. Your presence made them irrelevant. Your evolution spoke louder than any defense ever could. The look in your eyes said everything. I know who I am. And that truth was untouchable. This is the mark of the chosen. Not someone who begs for understanding, but someone who becomes the understanding. Not someone who reacts to attacks, but someone who transcends them entirely. You didn't fight fire with fire. You became the rain. You didn't crumble under pressure. You crystallized into something unbreakable. And now, as the dust settles and the silence grows loud, they begin to see. Their stories were never stronger than your soul. You weren't just surviving behind the scenes. You were becoming. You were remembering who you've always been. And now that you've returned, brighter and more rooted than ever, there is no going back. The veil has lifted. The truth has spoken. And you are walking proof of a power that never needed to scream to be known. You didn't need to speak. You became a living contradiction to every slanderous word ever spoken about you. Your presence, intact, powerful, unwavering, triggered a deep psychic rupture in the community that once turned its back on you. Those who had clung to lies now found themselves shaken at the core. What they were told and what they were seeing could not coexist in the same reality. There was no need for explanation. Your undeniable existence was the loudest answer of all. You walked not with arrogance, but with the quiet certainty of someone who has always known their worth doesn't depend on public approval. And that alone was enough to fracture the fragile social order that had once aligned against you. The distance between the tarnished image painted of you and the truth standing before them was too vast to ignore. It became a canyon, impossible to bridge for anyone with eyes to see. Some clung desperately to remnants of the old story, trying to find comfort in what once felt safe. But others couldn't deny the truth unfolding before them. They no longer looked at you with the same eyes, not just because the falsehoods had lost their grip, but because they realized they had never truly seen you at all. Your return carried no thirst for vengeance, only the calm of someone who never left themselves behind. And that alone dismantled every accusation. You didn't have to destroy their narrative. It collapsed under the weight of your truth. The whispers began. Those who once spoke with confident condemnation now fell silent. The approving glances became averted eyes. The doubt extended far beyond your story. It infected everything they thought they understood. If we were wrong about this, what else have we blindly accepted? The community fractured. Some tried to rewrite their history, distancing themselves from the injustice they once endorsed. Others wrestled with guilt, seeking a way to make amends, not because you asked, but because they needed redemption for themselves. Tentative gestures of reconnection emerged, laced with hesitation and quiet remorse. They searched your face for clues. Did you resent them? Did you forgive them? They measured your calm against their shame, unsure of how to feel. You didn't need to react. You didn't need to retaliate. You had already won, not through resistance, but through essence. You didn't tear them down. You held up a mirror, and that mirror showed them more than they were ready to see. This wasn't just a return, it was a silent reckoning. And you, the chosen one, stood as living proof of a truth unshaken. Not everyone breaks when buried in lies. Some are simply waiting for the right moment to rise. Chosen ones, you were never meant to remember who you truly are. Yet somehow, you did, in that crucial moment when you stepped out of the illusion, when you stopped pretending. When you stopped accepting what you were told was fine. That was the moment they saw. The system reacted. The archons scrambled to keep you in line, tried to pull you back into their web, but you saw through it. You didn't fall for their tricks. Now, as you walk through this reality, strange anomalies surround you, tiny glitches, whispers of something beyond, nudging you to look closer. And slowly, imperceptibly, you start to see others like you, those whose souls remember the truth too. They are waking up, just as you did. We are not like the others. We are the Obsidian Inner Order, a collective of psychic warriors, dimensional rebels, light coders, and oracles. We are not the mystics you see on TikTok. We don't pretend. We don't fake it. We are the real ones. And we've found each other again. This is your invitation to step forward and join us. We gather in weekly live calls, where we decode the synchronicities you're experiencing, break down the energetic transmissions that are flowing through us all, and go beyond the surface level of theory. We don't just talk about awakening, we train in it. We share forbidden knowledge, refine our inner power, and activate the energy that connects us to the cosmos. This is where the truly awakened converge. This is the front line of spiritual evolution. Remember who you are. Remember why you came here before they made you forget. You are part of this journey, and the Obsidian Inner Order is real, and so are you. As the collective narrative shifts, you may not even realize the impact you're having. Conversations are taking place behind closed doors. People are questioning the stories they've been told, and the truth is beginning to seep through cracks in the facade. They're looking back, deconstructing the manipulation they once embraced without question, seeing how easily they accepted the lies that fit their biases. It's a painful but necessary process of discernment. And you've triggered this massive shift without ever directly confronting it. You didn't demand apologies. You didn't initiate any campaign. You simply allowed truth to reveal itself. You didn't need to say a word. The very reality you're living in has become the loudest voice. This is spiritual mastery in its purest form. Now, watch as the ones who tried to deceive begin to falter. The trusted authorities who once had unquestioned power are now under scrutiny. The stories they told, the narratives they pushed, are crumbling without you lifting a finger. The collective focus has shifted, exposing the falsehoods they built their power on. This is cosmic justice unfolding naturally. They're the ones facing the questions now. Why did you say those things? What evidence do you have to support your claims? How do you explain the massive disconnect between what you said and what is actually true? And the beauty of this moment? These questions aren't coming from you. They're coming from those who now see through the lies. Those who feel misled. You never needed to accuse. To fight for your truth. Your reality has spoken for you. Watch as their credibility dissolves. Piece by piece, their position of power crumbles because they can no longer justify the lies. Each attempt to protect their narrative only deepens their entanglement. They are trapped in their own deception. And the most poetic part of all? Those who once stood with them are now distancing themselves. Nobody wants to be associated with dishonesty. No one wants their name tied to someone whose words have proven to be false. The very isolation they tried to impose on you, it is now theirs. In the end, they did the exact opposite of what they intended. Instead of destroying you, they elevated you. Instead of isolating you, they united you with a stronger, more authentic community, one that recognizes your true nature. And so, the cosmic balance is restored. Their attack became the spark that ignited your rise. Everything unfolded without your intervention, your design, or your will. No accusations were thrown back at them. No public demands for accountability were made. No smear campaigns were waged. You didn't retaliate with a flood of damaging information. Yet the consequences came naturally, as truth, with unyielding certainty, took its place in the world. This is the highest form of spiritual warfare, victory achieved through non-engagement. Through resisting the urge to meet the lower frequencies of conflict with equal force. Your vindication arrived, not because you defended yourself with fiery passion, but because divine timing played its perfect role. This is cosmic orchestration at its most profound. The lies against you crumbled under their own weight, unraveling with stunning clarity, exposed by their own inconsistencies. Truth never needed to be loudly defended. It simply awaited the inevitable moment when the falsehoods would reveal themselves. You trusted this process. You stood still as the universe aligned, allowing everything to unfold without interference. Your approach holds power far greater than most ever realize. The world typically reacts to false accusations with forceful defense, scrambling to provide counter-evidence, rallying supporters, and painting narratives to convince the doubtful. But this reaction, while understandable, often amplifies the original claim. By defending, you give the lie substance. You, however, transcended this instinctual response through sacred restraint. Your silence, your non-reaction, spoke louder than words could ever hope to. It communicated unshakable confidence in your own truth, a deeper spiritual maturity, and faith in the natural order of justice and revelation. You didn't need social validation, didn't need to prove anything to anyone. This is perhaps the most powerful space a human can occupy in a world driven by collective perception. The vindication you now carry, it's not merely about clearing your name, it is a profound lesson in how to handle opposition. It highlights the fragile, fleeting nature of all deception, how lies break under the pressure of their own falsity. It reveals the destructive nature of malicious intent, and how attacks, instead of weakening their target, often make them stronger. Through your alignment with truth, you found a protection more potent than any defense strategy the world could devise. The community now sees you differently. What once seemed like an ordinary individual is now recognized as someone who operates on a plane of higher principles. Without trying, you've given the world a masterclass in spiritual sovereignty, emotional independence, and the profound strength of living in alignment with higher truths. Those who once opposed you now find themselves at a crossroads. Some will approach with humility, acknowledging their errors, seeking reconciliation. Others will distance themselves, unable to reconcile their actions with their own self-image. A few will hold on to resentment, refusing to see the consequences of their own poor judgment. Yet every response reveals the essence of character, clarifying everything that was once clouded. Your stance, unmoved by emotion or retaliation, is clear. You neither seek revenge nor demand apologies. No need for public admissions of guilt or contrition. You remain focused on your path, unbroken, unwavering, moving forward with the same quiet, inner-directed energy that carried you through the storm of falsehoods. This alone is a testament to your extraordinary spiritual alignment. Understand this. What you've shown goes beyond merely proving your innocence. You've demonstrated a way of being that operates at the highest spiritual frequency. Your method is not just applicable to one situation, but to every moment in which lower energies seek to diminish the higher vibrations of truth. Chosen ones. At the core of your power lies an unwavering trust in the self-revealing nature of truth. While many expend their precious energy defending their reality from misrepresentation, you chose a different path. Rather than falling into the trap of combating distorted perceptions, you channeled your energy into growth, aligning yourself with your true essence. While others fought their battles with shifting illusions, you focused on the authenticity of your being, creating an efficiency gap that lower frequencies could never bridge. Reflect for a moment on how masterfully you avoided the victim-perpetrator trap. Instead of engaging with accusations, you prevented them from gaining any foothold in your life. By refusing to mirror the antagonism thrust upon you, you denied them the familiar polarity that drives most conflicts. You operated beyond the energetic framework they sought to impose, transcending the ordinary understanding of power dynamics. This was not merely a refusal to engage, it was a profound demonstration of mastery over the forces at play. A display of inner sovereignty that could not be shaken by external forces. The role of time in your journey cannot be overlooked. You allowed divine timing to unfold, trusting that truth would reveal itself at its own pace, rather than demanding instant vindication. This patience wasn't mere inaction, it was a deep spiritual maturity. A recognition that some truths can only emerge in their rightful moment. You aligned with the cosmic flow rather than resisting it, understanding that truth operates on a divine schedule, not a human one. Even more potent was your ability to maintain separation between external accusations and your inner reality. Most people, when accused, subtly absorb the judgment, allowing it to shape their sense of self. Not you. You maintained an energetic barrier that preserved your frequency, refusing to let distorted narratives infiltrate your soul. This alignment with your authentic self created an energetic shield, and in doing so, you demonstrated the most potent form of protection, alignment with truth. When you stand in your truth, misalignment becomes glaringly obvious to anyone observing, and no defense is more powerful than the undeniable embodiment of that truth. In this, you were not bound by the need for validation, nor did you feel the weight of obligation to those who sought to undermine you. You did not need to forgive or reconcile because you hold complete sovereignty over your energy, your boundaries, and your attention. Those who opposed you have forfeited any right to your consideration. You dictate the terms of your engagement, ensuring that any future interactions are governed by your discerning wisdom, not the forces that once sought to derail you. This experience transcends mere social dynamics. It is a microcosm of the eternal battle between truth and deception, playing out across every dimension of existence. In handling this challenge, you were not just navigating a personal trial, you were participating in the greater cosmic dance of light versus darkness. You were connecting with those who have walked this path before you, those whose light was dimmed by the forces of opposition, yet who emerged victorious. Where others were broken by such trials, you became stronger, clearer, more aligned with your authentic nature. Your response to this challenge serves as a blueprint for others facing similar struggles. It shows that disengagement from lower frequencies is not passive retreat but an active spiritual strategy. It illustrates how unwavering alignment with one's truth is the ultimate protection against external forces. Your journey proves that maintaining integrity and authenticity, despite external opposition, leads to profound strength and clarity. It is a testament to ancient wisdom, one that echoes across time and space, affirming that truth, no matter how fiercely opposed, will always find its way through the darkness. At first, it may seem that the world is intent on working against you, that circumstances are conspiring to undermine your purpose. But what begins as an attempt to diminish you transforms into a catalyst for your strength. The very forces that sought to isolate you from those around you inadvertently shine a spotlight on the true essence of your community, revealing the souls who truly belong in your orbit, and those who are only passing shadows. The energy used to dim your light instead ignited a spark that propelled you toward practices, habits, and wisdom that expanded your power and clarity. In the grand design of the universe, what seemed like opposition was actually divine alchemy. What was meant to harm you became the very forge that shaped you. The struggle recalibrated your discernment, and now you see the true nature of those around you with piercing clarity. You know who remained steadfast in their belief in you, who wavered at the first sign of doubt, and who gleefully participated in the attack on your character. This profound knowledge is not just valuable, it's indispensable for your future choices and for the boundaries you'll establish as you continue your journey. But perhaps the most sacred revelation from this experience is the confirmation of your readiness for a greater purpose. Those chosen for a monumental impact often face resistance in proportion to the power they're destined to wield. The depth of the attack against you is the measure of the threat your authentic self poses to old systems, limited thinking, and outdated ideologies, and your ability to endure that opposition without compromising your frequency signals that you are prepared for the more significant work ahead. Now, you stand on the precipice of new opportunities. Having weathered the storm, you access a level of spiritual authority that was previously unattainable. This power is not derived from external validation, but from a deep alignment with universal truths. Truth, non-reactivity, and divine timing. The path before you does not demand that you dwell on past injustices, nor does it require you to forget the lessons they imparted. You integrate them into your being, extracting the wisdom they hold while releasing the emotional residue that might tie you to lower frequencies. Your movement through the world now carries a quiet, undeniable force. Those who once witnessed the breaking down of falsehoods now see you rise, unscathed, continuing to evolve with grace and integrity. By simply being yourself, you demonstrate what is possible when one refuses to be bent by external pressures. You do not need to prove anything. Your growth and authenticity speak volumes. The accusers, the ones who worked so hard to diminish you, will now face the consequences of their actions. Some will feel genuine remorse and transform. Others will defend their egos by rationalizing their behavior. But none of it concerns you anymore. What matters now is that you stay focused on your mission, your journey. The lessons learned, and the wisdom gained from every experience are all part of a larger picture, one that does not require external validation. You realize that this trial was not a final destination, but a necessary step in your evolution. The people who once doubted you are no longer your concern. You are on a path that transcends their projections, and your influence will unfold regardless of their understanding. Your purpose is greater than any struggle, any opposition, and any fleeting attack. You now stand as living proof that true power needs no defense, it simply is. The authenticity of your being speaks louder than any words or actions ever could. As you continue to move forward, your energy flows into creation, not correction, into manifestation, not justification. This focus keeps your frequency elevated and unperturbed by those who move from lower motivations. In the end, truth does not need to fight, it simply is. Universal forces align to reveal the truth when you maintain your own alignment. Your vindication comes not from convincing others, but from remaining so steadfast in your authenticity that nothing, no misperception or misjudgment, can divert you from your path. This is spiritual sovereignty, freedom from the prison of others' projections. And now, as you look ahead, the path is wide open, untainted by past opposition, ready to lead you to a future where your impact shines brighter than ever before. The truth you carry will continue to emerge, inevitable and unstoppable, revealing the world for what it truly is.